One thing about the NFL season, it never stops. It's always relevant. It might be trendy at certain points of the NFL season, but it never officially stops. I can't imagine being back in the 80s, pre-internet, pre-Twitter, pre-information at your fingertips, because when Barry Sanders and Deion Sanders were drafted, it was the equivalent of being in my basement. I swear my basement looked like the exact place where the house that I grew up in, it looked like everybody's basement looked the same, bro. It had the wood paneling and everything. I swear, man. So the NFL has come a long way. With that being the case, it will never be anything not to talk about with the NFL. The worst part is probably July. This is my first time doing YouTube full time, and I'm like, man, it really does not stop. It's just a matter of how long can I go before I get worn out. But we'll see. We're 3 months in, and right now I feel pretty good. Wish we were celebrating a Super Bowl, but hopefully we get there soon. With that being said, we were doing the power rankings for a long time, and then we just got out of it. I think it was like week 12, 13. So much stuff happened, and I kind of got away from it. That and the defensive rankings through. But what I will do is I'm going to try my best to finish whatever I start. So if I finish that, power rankings are one of the least viewed videos on this channel. It's just what somebody else thinks about our team and other teams, but I like to see their perspective, even though this particular gentleman, Eric Edholm, really grinds my gears. But I'm interested to know where the Detroit Lions are going to rank. This is the same guy we were following during the NFL season, so it's no change there. Where are they going to rank? Now, for me, I'm going to give you my thoughts after we see where the Detroit Lions rank in his power rankings. I have not seen this. If I had to take a guess, usually the Eagles will be at the top. I'm sorry, the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that the Eagles are going to be at the top because they dominated the Kansas City Chiefs. So, from my opinion, based on the last 4 teams, I think the last 6 teams, I think that the Detroit Lions would be fortunate to get top 5. I think they might be 5. Maybe they're ahead of the Washington Commanders. So in this order, I think it's going to be Philadelphia Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs, Buffalo Bills, Baltimore Ravens, Detroit Lions. I do think the Commanders are going to be in the top 10, which is what we'll look at. So let's see. I don't think that the San Francisco 49ers are going to be, I think, maybe in the top 10, but I think they might be outside the top 10. So let's look. Again, Philadelphia Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs, Buffalo Bills, Baltimore Ravens, Detroit Lions, if they're fortunate. Here we go. I didn't know it was this far down. All right. Philadelphia Eagles. All right. 1 for 1. Number 2, Kansas City Chiefs, 2 for 2. And I promise you, man, I did not look at this. Number 3, Buffalo Bills, 3 for 3. Number 4, Detroit Lions. Wow. See, I told you I didn't look at it. Okay, what's the top 10? Number 5, the Baltimore Ravens. That's actually very surprising of Ed. Number 6, Washington Commanders. I told you they were going to be in the top 10. Now, the San Francisco 49ers, I don't know why I'm singling them out right now. I don't think they're in the top 10, but I'm curious to know where they are. Number 7, Minnesota Vikings. Okay. Number 8, Green Bay Packers. Wow. Number 9, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And rounding out the top 10 is the Houston Texans. That is a big deal because let me see where they got the San Francisco 49ers are not even in the top 15. He got the San Francisco 49ers as 21. He got them as 21. Keep in mind, after the Super Bowl of last year, they were first. If I'm not mistaken, it was that they lost the Super Bowl and was still first in the power rankings. The very next power rankings that this guy did. I could be confusing it with somebody else, but that just tells you, and that's what I do not want to happen with the Detroit Lions. Now, he really doesn't have good things to say about us, and I'm going to tell you what, man, I can't really knock him because we failed to deliver this season. Now, I want to be very clear. Let's take a little break, a little detour for the people that watch this channel. I was told yesterday that it's been doom and gloom over here. That's not the case. What it is has been a heavy dose of reality. It's not doom and gloom. I'm not the dry eyes dude. What you hear from me is I've bought into the hype. I have bought into this team. And I have been one to have stayed on Brad Holmes' neck about a pass rush, the defense. We drafted Jamison Williams. I was on his neck. You guys clown me in the comment section. I ranted about Ennis Rakestraw. I was on his neck. You guys clown me in the comment section. I destroyed Marcus Davenport. You guys clown me in the comment section. You see it? I even offered to wear a clown suit if we had a certain amount of sacks. We were one short. I put myself out there on the line, and Brad Holmes fails to deliver. So it's not that I'm doom and gloom. This is called accountability, which I have made videos about. So it's not that I'm doom and gloom. The reality is, I want to hear what he has to say, but this is kind of high for it's high for the Detroit Lions, because I assure you, if Brad Holmes does what he has done in the last 4 seasons for that defensive line, we will not win anything. We might be 15-2, and we will not win the Super Bowl. So that's what you hear. It's not doom and gloom. It's reality. And until Brad Holmes shows me otherwise, it's going to be reality. The reality is, our defensive, healthy or not, our defense was never going to win the Super Bowl. We got bought up in the hype, and that's what you hear. If you take it as doom and gloom, I don't know what to tell you, but that is not what it is. All right, so here's what he had to say. Says, the bloodletting of coaching talent can't be overlooked. The loss of both coordinators and a half dozen other assistants will challenge Dan Campbell's team this offseason. That's correct. We just made a video earlier. We lost a total of 7 coaches, I believe. So maybe he has 8, but I think we lost 7. So that would be 7 total, 5 coaches or different staff members. The Lions roster remains in strong shape. And GM Brad Holmes will seize any opportunity he can. I'm not so sure about that. Will the offense be able to maintain the magic it had under Ben Johnson? Can the defense reach the same peak it did under Eric Glenn, at least prior to being ravaged by injuries? We got to talk about that. Those are 2 massive questions, no matter whom Detroit adds this offseason. Speaking of additions, improving the depth on defense has to be atop the Lions list of priorities. They can't let another promising run fall apart thanks to late season attrition again. Now, it seems like that he's using the injuries as a scapegoat, which I think that most Detroit Lions fans are also using the injuries as a scapegoat. Here's what I want to ask you. If you were not using these same injuries when we were winning, do you understand, with all of those injuries, the Lions lost 2 games. With our best defensive player out, we lost 1 game to a team that you could argue should have been in the Super Bowl, Buffalo Bills. I don't understand. How can we pick and choose? And that's what you hear. You hear realism. You don't hear excuses from me. It's like this team wants to make, you guys want to make, not all of you, you want to make excuses for this team and Brad Holmes. You know what? I'm going to show you something. Amon-Ra St. Brown, on his podcast, said that the defensive line is how you win games. I want to show you something. This is coming from somebody who plays for our team. This is after yesterday. This is yesterday. So this is several hours after the Super Bowl. Coming from Brian Branch. Says, no excuses next year. No excuses. That means there's no scapegoat. There's no outlier. There's no excuses. This is coming from a member of our team. He doesn't want to hear it. And how do I not follow him? It's my fault, BB. We got that rectified. I didn't even know he had a Twitter. Saw it yesterday. So there's no excuses. We the only ones that's making excuses. Sound like Brad was kind of making them too. Well, I mean, we did have attrition, all this other stuff. And that's what you hear. And like I told y'all before, and I'm telling you, my delivery is one thing. Sometimes I will start off one way. I'll get emotional during the actual making of the video, but that's all 100% fan coming out of me. But it's because I have seen what this team has needed. I'm not the general manager of the Detroit Lions. I'm a basement fan GM. But how can I see it and Brad doesn't? How can I don't necessarily know how to fix it because I'm not into the cap and all of that stuff like that. The team cap, I don't know how to fix it. I have an idea of what I would do, but there's a lot that goes into that. Money, deals, that whole thing, right? So when we compare ourselves to well, you should be the general. How would you be? It's not about that. It's about seeing a need for a team and getting that need rectified. And look at the D-line. We went over this yesterday in a video. I'll try to tag it up here. Brad Holmes he's whiffed a lot on the D-line. But you didn't have to take my word for it. So I think that this is, let me see, who's in front of them? I think that is number 4 to be above the Baltimore Ravens. And you guys know how I feel about Lamar Jackson, the Washington Commanders. They beat us. Here's the key. The Lions team, the offense is pretty much set. I think if the offense regresses, it'll be by 10%. I truly believe that. We've got all the pieces in place. We've got the offensive line. We don't know what's going on with Kevin Zeitler yet, but we got all the pieces in place. We lost Benedict Johnson. That's a big deal, probably, right? But I'm sure we also could be like nothing. It really could. He wasn't the only one like involved in the play calling. So I think if we regress on offense, we might not be the number 1 offense, but in 2023, we weren't the number 1 offense, and we wind up in the NFC Championship game. I don't care about that. Defense wins championships. I care about, and until Brad Holmes fixes the D-line, I don't believe this team can go all the way. That's just the bottom line. We had our offense was literally historic, and we got upset. Now, let me be very clear. If we weren't going to win the Super Bowl or make the Super Bowl, if we were going to lose to the Eagles, I'm glad we lost to the Commanders because it took the veil off this team. It shook this team up. It shook the fan base up. It shook the team up. Brad Holmes said in his press conference he was forced. This was the first time he had to trade for a pass rusher. It shook this team out of whatever perch they were. Come on down off your mountain. Figure this thing out. You're not going to be able to do this. And if you want to use excuses injuries as an excuse, let's go back to Brian Branch. Look what he said. No excuses next year. He's talking to everyone. His team, his coach, his GM. If he's not going to use them, then neither are we. I don't use them now. This is Brad Holmes' fault. Point blank, period. You can blame injuries if you want to. That is called coping. Because I have seen the lack of addressing the defensive line for literally 4 years. You can literally go to my channel, okay, on your free time. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do in my free time, I'm going to make a pass rusher playlist. And you can go, and if you are driving on a long drive, you're going to visit some family, you put on that playlist, and you hear from the very beginning, starting with Hutch, because this channel was created October 27th, 2021. So almost 3.5 years. Starting with Hutch, I have not got off the gas about it. And we have gotten nowhere. If 15-2 is good for you, that's fine. It's not. If you enjoy the ride, that's fine. I love those people. I'm not one of those people. So Brad Holmes this all falls on him. The injuries they don't. But the depth of the team, the starters, it all falls on him. Somebody in the comment section today said, if we re-sign Marcus Davenport, they done with the team. Well, you know what? Pack up. I hear you. This ain't directed towards you. I'm being pack up because he about to do it. I would not be surprised if he re-signs Davenport as a depth piece because we need that help as well. Anyway, this channel, it's not doom and gloom, ladies and gentlemen. That's not what this is. It is realistic takes. This stuff takes a toll on me. Losing takes a toll on me. It does. Because I'm a fan. I'm not a puppet. I'm not a muppet. I'm not a robot. I am a fan of this team. I want to see them win. I do this. I get paid doing it, but I want to win. If I lose my passion, I will disappear from this. You will not see me make videos if I don't care about this team. If I lose my passion about the Detroit Lions, I will disappear. Somebody else will start doing this. I'm not going to get the channel up, right? But I'm going to hire somebody else to do it. You will never see me if I don't have passion. That's why I have to be realistic. I'm not a fluff. I'm not that dude. This is not the fluff 60 minutes. The fluff piece, the part they put on the news, the last 60 seconds, this is not that. This channel is made possible by viewers, subscribers, and members just like you. It's because of your support I get to do what I do. You could be anywhere else on YouTube, but you choose to rock with me. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.